So tonight my talk is titled Finding and Fighting for Your Passion. And as much as I would love to stand up here and be able to tell each and every one of you how to find your unique passion, I probably can't do that, so I apologize. But what I can do is look back on my own journey and talk a little bit about my journey to becoming a campus photographer at SUNY Geneseo in the hopes that you guys can draw bits and pieces from that and apply it to your own journey. So how many of you here have found something they're passionate about? Just curious. Okay, about half, or a lot of you. That's great. All right, so for the few of you who haven't found it, don't sweat it yet, because I believe that your passion already exists somewhere inside of you in bits and pieces. I like to refer to these bits and pieces as passion building blocks, or the foundation to your passion. And they're made up of things throughout your lifetime, from the time you're really young up until this very moment. These life experiences, like your social relationships with your family and your friends, trips you've gone on, whether it's for vacation or study abroad, your taste in music, your taste in style. It's what makes up you as a person. Whoever you are as a person, it's formed by all these things. And those building blocks kind of form a road which will eventually lead you to your passion. So to put this into perspective, if we look at my own journey, I didn't fall in love with photography when I first picked up a camera. I believe it happened at a much earlier age. The journey to becoming a photographer started when I was young. I was very fortunate to grow up in a family that was allowed to go on vacation once a year for 2 weeks. And we would go to this place called Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And I like to think of that place as my second home. And while I was there, we camped, so I was always immersed in nature, and I grew this deep appreciation for the world around me, the natural world. And it's something intangible, something I can't really describe unless I were to make a photo and show you guys. But it was this deep appreciation of nature that laid the groundwork for me 20 years later when I found a passion in photography. So 20 years later, as I'm walking through the campus of Geneseo, and I feel like the setting sun across the valley on my face, and I can smell the change of seasons and see all the beautiful colors around campus, I can't help but feel like I'm transported back to a special place. Not necessarily a place like Cape Cod, but a special place inside myself, a comfort zone, if you have to give it any sort of name. So those were my building blocks, but I want to challenge you guys to look back on your life. What are your building blocks to find something that you're passionate about? It's usually something that you've had a good time at. So if you look back into the past and identify those happy moments, those happy thoughts, and actually pursue them, that's going to lead to a more fulfilling and enriching life, moving forward. So having said that, how long should it take somebody to find a passion? Is there a set time? There really isn't. For me, it took over 2 decades to find out that I enjoyed photography. But how did I get here? Well, it started back in high school when I took a photography class. And I would love to be able to stand up here and talk to you all about how when I picked up that camera in that photography class, I absolutely had this grand epiphany about what I was going to do with my life. But that really wasn't the case. It was a fun elective, and I was really taking it for an easy A. Let's not kid ourselves here. It wasn't until 11th grade that I thought I knew I had found something, what I wanted to do with my life. And it was in the form of an accounting class, surprisingly. We had gone on this field trip to a local firm up in Rochester. And while we were there, I saw all these people in really fancy suits and nice ties. They were driving nice cars. And they had really nice views of the Rochester skyline. And I thought to myself, these people are doing pretty well for themselves. And that's what I want out of life. I want to go to school. And I want to get out of school and become an accountant and make a good financial living. I want to not be dependent on anybody else. And when I look back on that, I can't help but be a little bit disgruntled or upset because I wasn't addressing the holistic what Keith wants. What does Keith enjoy doing? I never talk like in the third person like that, so it's kind of weird. I wasn't addressing the things like I love being outside, I love exploring, I love nature, and how could I possibly transfer that into an education and then into a career? I wasn't thinking along those lines, but regardless, I still ended up making up my mind and going to school to become an accountant. So that was my first major. So here's lovely Rochester, New York. It's where I started my undergraduate education at Monroe Community College, and I'll give you guys a brief overlook of what my days looked like. So I would wake up into the Arctic tundra and look outside, dread the day ahead, And I would walk out, scrape the snow off my car, scrape the ice and brush the snow off, and drive to school, take probably 5 or 6 hours worth of classes, drive to work for 5 or 6 hours, come home, do my homework, go to bed, wake up, and repeat. And it was really like this cycle of just boring, monotonous crap. And like I didn't take it upon myself to expand my horizons and take advantage of all the clubs and organizations that community college had to offer. So I'm not trying to bash the school here. It was totally on me. But luckily, I was about to snap out of that funk when I transferred into this beautiful place, SUNY Geneseo, in the fall of 2009. I was 21 years old, so I was fresh. And it just wasn't funny, I'm sorry. 21 years old, and still planning on being an accountant. But when I got here, just the fact that I could walk to class in the morning and walk to class at night and view the sunrise and view the sunset, all those things that had been kind of pressed down, my love of the outdoors when I was at community college that was kind of put on the back burner was brought back to the forefront again. I loved being outside and exploring new things and jumping on my bike and going around Livingston County just to find new stuff to look at. But after a while, just looking at things got boring to me, so I started bringing a camera with me. I wanted to document what I was looking at. And when I started taking photos, I started posting them online, and people started enjoying what I was posting. So they said, well, keep doing that. It's great. We love seeing the photos that you're sharing with us, so that's exactly what I did. And it became like an addiction to me. I started enjoying photography so much that it's like a light bulb went off. I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life at that moment. And that's when I knew that I had really found something I was passionate about. I was biking for miles to chase down nice country light, and I was staying up super late to learn how to expose for stars at night. And I was waking up early to catch the sunrise before anybody else. And that's when I knew that I had found something that I could be emotionally invested in, and that I could take that and take it to the next level. I also knew at that moment that accounting and I were breaking up, so that was the end of that. So what can you guys do if you're in a rut like I was at community college? Well, you're probably already involved in a bunch of different things that are happening on campus, but get more involved, or if you're not happy with what you're involved in right now, change it up a bit. We have so many different clubs and organizations on campus and so many opportunities to travel abroad and to meet new people and expose yourself to different cultures. Get out there and do it. The onus is on you guys. You can't sit back and feel like you're entitled to anything, because that's the worst thing you could possibly do. So just get out there and experience new things, and your life will just magically be better. Now, having said that, I've had a couple years of hard work pay off in the form of a career that I absolutely love. And I know I'm probably in the minority when I say that I love what I do for a living. But I can't emphasize enough that I didn't get here without hard work and without fighting for it. And that's where you have to fight for your passion. So, my junior year rolls around, and I realized that I really love this photography thing, so what can I do to take it to the next level? Well, I can ask people who were in the field to see what they did. So that's what I did. I started calling industry professionals across all spectrums, weddings and landscapes and photojournalists. And the one constant answer I got back from all of them was, don't quit your day job. And I don't know if that's because my portfolio was awful or if they were just giving me real advice. I like to think they were giving me sound advice because my portfolio was kind of awful. But having said that, it hurt to hear those things. It felt like they were kind of trampling my dreams and like extinguishing that flame I had, that love for photography. But I also had to step back and be realistic about my situation. I had completed 3 years of undergraduate education and a very practical degree. And I only had 3 semesters to go to get that degree. So it would have been totally unwise of me to just abandon that and then pursue photography, because it's such a competitive field. So what I had to do was take a step back and analyze where I was in life. Analyze a couple of things. Did I have a solid network of family and friends that would support me regardless of what I did? And the answer was yes. I had an amazing network of family and friends who said, whatever you do, as long as you finish your business degree, we'll support what you do in terms of photography. We'll be there for you. I also looked at the financial side of my life in terms of how much debt I had. Luckily, I had gone to community college, so I could probably afford a year or two after of paying the minimum on my student loans and just getting by that way. But these are the things you have to step back and ask yourself. You're going to experience these types of like forks in the road in your life. And it may not relate to your passion or to a career, but when you get there, you're really doing yourself a favor by like having not an out-of-body experience, but stepping back and thinking to yourself, do I have a good like support network of family and friends? Do I have like a large burden of debt over my head that's going to prevent me from pursuing something that I'm passionate about? But luckily for me, it just seemed like all the stars had aligned, and I had a great gut feeling about it. So I decided that I was just going to go for it. And I knew that at the very least, if I had gone like a year or two after school and photography didn't work out for me, I'd have that family and friends network to fall back on, and I could get back on my feet with that practical business degree that I was talking about. So the summer before my senior year, I decided to go for it. And I sent out probably a dozen resumes and portfolio pieces to local newspapers. And I got one response back. And it was from the Rochester Business Journal, which is 30 minutes up the road, downtown Rochester. And I went in for the interview, and I sat down, and almost before my butt hit the seat, they said, "The job's yours." And I was like, "What? Like, this is crazy." And they said, "And we'll pay you $40. And I was like, "Great, $40 an hour. I'd never have to work again." And they were like, "No, we can pay you $40 a month, and it's for parking. Because you're going to have to come down, and you're going to have to file your images and meet with editors, and you're basically going to have to pay your way through this internship." And if I didn't love what I did so much or felt like I wanted to make it so badly as a photographer, I would have been scared away at that moment. But I knew that this was my in and this was my opportunity to really fight for something that I loved. And I took it right away. But to support that, I had to have 3 part-time jobs on the side that summer. And between those part-time jobs and all the hours I was working for the internship, it probably amounted to 50 to 60 hours a week. And the thing was, it didn't feel like a second of work in my life because I loved what I was doing so much. And that's what I wish for all of you. I hope you guys find something in life that gives you like an enlightened sense of life, or raises you up or gives you a new zest for life, because it's such a liberating feeling to be able to do something that you love, regardless of whether or not it's in the form of a career or in the form of like a hobby or a passion on the side of a career. And the last thing I wanted to talk about tonight, and there's just like a fancy tree picture. I don't know why I put it in there. I told myself I wasn't going to put quotes in my speech because I wanted it to be somewhat original. So I ended up putting a whole paragraph in instead. And I would like if you guys could maybe close your eyes as I read this, because this hangs in our house. And it's something that I read like every day as a source of inspiration. It's not necessarily about a passion or about photography, but it's about life. And I think it's just a good way to view life. So if you could, close your eyes. I won't do anything weird up here, I promise. So this is your life. Do what you love and do it often. If you don't like something, change it. If you don't like your job, quit. If you don't have enough time, stop watching TV. If you're looking for the love of your life, stop. They'll be waiting for you when you start doing things you love. Stop overanalyzing. Life is simple. All emotions are beautiful. When you eat, appreciate every last bite. Open your mind, arms, and heart to new things and people. We are united in our differences. Ask the next person you see what their passion is and share your inspiring dream with them. Travel often. Getting lost will help you find yourself. Some opportunities only come once. Seize them. Life is about the people you meet and the things you create with them. So go out and start creating. Life is short. Live your dream and share your passion. Thank you.